Right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of Ear Candy with myself, Danny, and Cruicky is finally in the building. How are you doing?
I was in the building the last time.
Right, on the couch, on the couch.
I'm on the couch.
How are you doing? All good?
Kinda.
Good, good.
Buzzing for the day.
Yeah, good. Good to have you back on the couch for this. Today...
Doesn't sound right, mate.
It's not a casting couch, calm down.
Well, I've got footprints in the wall, so I don't know.
Today, our guests are a band for Glasgow called Neverfine. How he's doing? He's all good?
Hi.
Yeah.
Well,
Good.
are you a Glasgow band? Because you said you're from Edinburgh.
Yes.
We say we're a Glasgow band because mostly, percentage-wise, we're mostly from
2/3 of
Glasgow.
us live in Glasgow, so we
Yeah.
are Glasgow based.
Yeah.
So yeah, but
Yeah.
I've lived in Glasgow now for a few years, but and I love it here. I feel really settled. Like it's just a really chill city.
That's
and
weird. I've just moved back to Edinburgh and I was fucking settled there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I do feel like everyone's just so welcoming here in Glasgow. And
I think it's that Kevin Bridges thing that you'll get chibbed, but you get directions to the hospital kind of thing. Whereas in Edinburgh, you're chibbed and then they fuck off. Like, they don't say
yeah,
anything to you.
exactly. Yeah.
Can I swear?
I would definitely say...
Say whatever the fuck you want,
I
bro,
was
mate.
gonna say,
Don't
yeah.
give a fuck.
I was
Cursing
like,
with
fuck, I've swore. Oh shit, I've done it again. Oh no.
cursing within the first 2 minutes of starting.
Let's get me. Normally throw a cunt in there now and again.
If in Glasgow, now, if every second word isn't a swear word, then
I mean,
that's
that's
you.
true. Do you really live in Glasgow
Yeah.
if you don't curse?
Exactly.
But the people in Glasgow are a lot more friendlier, I would say. So, like, especially when you're out and about, like in the pubs and that. I find if you're in Edinburgh and you try and speak to someone, they look at you like you're a weirdo. But through here, you could just chat to anyone, and they're happy just to chat away to you. Like,
Oh yeah.
sound bunch of people. So, where did you get your start with like music individually? So not as like a group, but like individually.
Well, with me personally, like I come from a musical background. Like my family kind of did music, so I've always grown up around it. And like my dad in particular, he comes from like a punk metal background and stuff. So like my background in music is so different to what I actually do with Neverfine now. And yeah, so I think my biggest influences and kind of my passion for music and stuff stemmed from my dad, you know, and just watching him performing over the years and stuff, you know what I mean? But yeah, and then like I just knew from a young age that I wanted to do music, and that was my passion and my, you know, purpose in life, kind of, as corny as that sounds. Yeah, and then I went on to study music. Well, actually, after high school, I studied music business for a year because I was like, oh, I'm too
What's
shy.
music business? What is music business?
Well, I mean, like if you want to get into like music management or, you know,
Publishing, stuff
publishing and things like that, all the background stuff that goes on.
All right, I thought you just said to be a drug dealer.
If you're a band manager in the 80s, you were like a part-time drug dealer.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. So I did that for a year because I was like, oh, I'm too shy to perform. Like, I don't feel confident. And then a year after that, like, I was like, oh, well, I might, you know, put it out there into the ether and do performance, or I might, you know, continue with the business if the performance thing doesn't work out. And then, yeah, I just said, fuck it. And then I went, did my audition, and then I studied music performance for 4 years, and then I graduated with a first class bachelor's degree in music in 2018.
Oh,
Thank
brilliant.
It's up in our mum's wall, it's framed and everything.
Yeah, I've got my certificate. Like, she's so proud of
And
it.
then in
She's
my
got
mum's
it.
house, you're lucky if there's a photo of me.
Oh, no,
I'm
she's
kidding.
got a few
I'm only
photos
joking,
of
I'm
you
only kidding.
performing.
Nah.
Yeah. But,
Sorry, Mum.
yeah. And then after studying music and, you know, finishing up with that, I did want to try being in... Originally, I wanted to be in, like, a rock metal project because that was, like, what primarily I was focusing on. But nothing really ever fell into place. Just, you know, either people were already in bands or they were too busy or just didn't know, like, the instrumentalists that I wanted involved.
Do you think being a girl kind of held you back from getting into rock and punky bands?
I think to some extent, yeah.
I'm calling you a
'cause-
girl or a lady. So.
Well, I'm female identifying, so it's all good.
Right.
But no, I think being a woman just in the music industry in general, you know, it can be pretty daunting. But I think in particular when you are doing rock and metal music, I think because it is
Very male dominated.
very male dominated, yeah. it kind of, like you kind of have to work a bit harder to kind of be taken seriously. Like there was a band that I started shortly after I finished my college studies, and it was meant to be like a rock metal band. And it was a group with a bunch of other guys, and it never lifted off, and it was a shame because I heard from the guy that like found me, and because he was really keen on having a female vocalist, but the other guys I found out later on weren't keen on having a female fronting. Well, I don't like calling it female fronting, but
Name and shame them.
but like a woman fronting the band basically.
Right.
So yeah, that never ended up being, and then after that, like a bunch of personal shit happened, so I had to put music aside for a few years, and then I met you. Sadly.
What a dick, man.
Nah, I met you, and then
I met you.
Rest is history, isn't it? But
You started this whole venture, didn't you?
Aye,
yeah.
unfortunately. No, I'm kidding on.
Yeah.
Very self-deprecating.
What? But what about you? And you're like, you come from like a similar background to me, don't you?
Kind of like genre-wise and that. So like, I went to study music not as successfully. I think I left in 4th year in school, like literally after I finished my first exam. I went got the paper, signed it, see you later. Because as everybody didn't like school. And then went straight into trying to study music. And then, I don't know, it just became a thing of like, when I was studying music, it felt like a formal thing. Does that make sense? Like it wasn't something I was enjoying, it was something I was working on and
It's
stuff.
something you were just doing.
Yeah, and I was just like, I didn't enjoy it. So then went away, started studying media, television and stuff like that. But anyway, like, apart from that, we're like giving CVs here, man. I done this and I done this like job interview. No, but so then eventually I became, I don't know how deep we're going. How deep are we going?
It's up
Deep
to
as you
you.
want.
Music wasn't like a big thing to me, and before, like, until I was like 11 or that, and then my dad passed away, and then sorry, man. He was like what got me into football, and that music wasn't like a big massive thing. But then I think it was like a couple of weeks after he passed away, my mum, I was in Asda, and she was just like, go get a CD or a DVD, like try to cheer me up. And I found it was Iron Maiden. What was it? Number of the Beast.
Was it Number of the Beast?
Yeah, with Eddie's like that. And I was like, what's that? That looks so cool. And then my mum was like, oh, obviously she knows who Iron Maiden is. She was like, oh no, here we go. He's going to enter this phase. And then that's how I got into rock and metal. And I just heard it and I was like, this is for me. This is amazing.
That album is a spiritual awakening musically, I think, for every music
that's
fan.
how I got into like rock and metal and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, what, I play guitar. And then my uncle was like an incredible guitarist. He like bought me my first guitar and all this stuff. It was like a Gibson knockoff. But then, so played guitar in a few rock bands and then started wanting to like drum. So then drumming became my main thing. Done that in metal bands. But then I discovered synths and like got really into Depeche Mode and stuff. We were talking about Depeche Mode before we started.
Yeah.
And churches and stuff like that. Churches was a big one because it was like, oh, people from the city I'm from can actually do
I'm going to
this.
say they're from
Funny
Glasgow.
you say,
eh?
yeah. I was listening to you this morning, and
Yeah.
the total vibe I got was
A lot of
churches.
people say that. It's like there's a bit of churches, there's a bit of Depeche Mode, a bit of like this
Purity
and that.
Ring. Yeah.
So like, but that's good. I mean, we don't want to be the next churches. We want to be the first Neverfine kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
we
like-
want
Every
to
band
be-
has an inspiration.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. That's all right. But I then just went from like wanting to do metal and that to I'm gonna like see what synths are about, and I opened GarageBand for the first time or GarageBand.
That's when I got my first start with synthesizers was GarageBand.
And you think you're just like, oh, this is pure. This is like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then as the years go on, you're like, oh, I know what a compressor is. I know what this is. And all that.
Yeah.
And then gradually just like started writing more kind of synthy based stuff. Even if sometimes it was like a wee bit industrial metal, like 9 Inch Nails kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like worked on things like that, and then that became more popular. And then, like you said, like listening to Purity Ring and stuff, and was like, oh, this is really good, and wanted to do stuff more electronic based.
Mm-hmm.
And then met you,
Mm-hmm.
and then very quick, I think like we met in the January, and then a couple months later, lockdown was announced, and we were like, oh right, okay. And then obviously like everyone like had a lot of spare time and spare money, and was like, oh, buy some gear.
And
sit
also
down
isolating as
and
well.
that's what I'm saying,
We,
like, yeah.
So like me and Craig were isolating during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just as you said, we had plenty of time on our hands, so it gave us the opportunity to
Start writing stuff.
Yeah, because like we had been in the talks about it and stuff, and then we decided to take that opportunity to be like, well, now we've got all this free time. You know, I was working from home, and so we might as well make something of it. And I think like I've said to people that I think with Neverfine as well. Not only are we at an age now in our lives where our music tastes have really
Not that
matured.
old, man, God's sake.
No, but like our music tastes have matured, and I think like we really wanted to challenge ourselves to try something different because
You get really tired of metal and that after a while. It's
yeah,
like,
I think we were both feeling quite fatigued, you know, doing metal music, and we just wanted to try a new venture and try something different, and that's what Neverfine
and we
ended
were
up
also sick
becoming.
of like, no shade to anybody because there are good bands like this, but we're also sick of seeing 4 white guys with guitar, bass, drums, and really so many indie bands that are doing the same kind of thing. And there are a lot of good bands like that in Glasgow who are doing it in a different way.
Yeah.
And it is good to see that there are a lot of bands that, even if it is that kind of indie thing, there's a lot with women nowadays, which I
Yeah.
think Scotland's really good at in general. There's a lot of good like female artists and stuff.
I think like
But-
just recently in the Scottish music scene, like the oh my goodness, like the music and the talent is
ridiculous.
really popping off.
Yeah.
It's so good, and it's like it's so like I feel like it's becoming more inclusive as well. You know, you just have people from all different areas and backgrounds in their lives and all different genres of music. You know, you've got like a really like predominant hip hop scene in Scotland, for example, and obviously you've got your metal scene and stuff. But we felt like with Neverfine, like there is like pop out there and stuff, but in terms of what we want to do, because I would like to say that we're a wee bit genre bending, and that's what I like to kind of say. A wee bit genre bending. But like as Craig said, we don't want to be the next Churches or the next
You want
whatever
the
insert
band.
band.
Who came up with the name?
Yeah,
Me.
yeah. Craig came up
Yeah.
with the name.
We were slaving over it for ages, and then I thought like some bad ideas, man, and there's terrible
Some
ideas.
quite cringy ideas, yeah. And then we were like, oh, that's not
Yeah.
good for a band
And
name.
then I think it was like so I've like oh god we're getting pure deep into it. I've got borderline personality disorder, so like and me and Ashley, I had like a bad day and I was talking to Ashley just like feeling a bit crap, and she was like, oh, what's up, talking to her, and then I think like I said something about like, oh, I'm never, it feels like you're either 100% or 0, like you're never fine,
You're never just
always
fine,
blah, blah, blah.
yeah.
And then she was like, oh right, okay, and I was like, oh, never fine, that's quite cool. And then we thought, oh, smash 2 words together, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's really weird when people say never fine. You're like, no, say it never fine. Never fine if it's
Just
2 separate
disclaimer,
words. Sounds
guys,
weird. But
it's
yeah.
one word.
We were thinking about filming a shitty wee PSA. To be like, say it as one word. Don't say never fine. It was really weird because we went to Wide Days and they played our song to these like ADR folk in front of like an audience, and they put the band name up as Never Fine, and I was like,
Separate
That
words.
must do your head in though, if that's
It
like
does,
your
man, it
vision
does.
that you've been
'Cause-
planning on a
man,
while,
like,
and you
there were
see
these
someone
people
do that.
like properly like and really high up people in the music industry like looking at it, and I was like, they're gonna think the band's that, and then I started thinking, is that a shit name? Is that a shit? But then a lot of people, because it started when we said the name of initially, like people were like, all right, but then now it's like, oh, that's quite a cool name.
Yeah, like
a catchy
especially.
name.
Yeah, like
simple.
just before like we launched the band and stuff, we were saying to people, oh, like they'd be like, oh, what's the band's name? Be like, oh, Neverfine, and they would kind
You're
of
not
raise
gonna
their
go for-
eyebrow
yeah,
a wee bit and
nothing's
be
gonna
like,
happen with that name, and then now we're like, oh, all right, doesn't look like
we
that.
decided to take.
I wouldn't
that
listen to
chance.
people like
That is
Anybody
it.
says it'll never happen with
Yeah.
that name, it'll never happen with us.
Yeah, exactly. But no, like I love the name Neverfine. I think it's
It looks good in the merch.
Yeah, it's
thank you.
just I think like just in terms of our sound and like even like the music that we've like put out and stuff, it's really reminiscent of like Neverfine, because our EP, which we'll get on to, I'm sure, is like really our songwriting centralized around like mental health and things like that.
Or at least
And
that EP is a lot about
At least that EP is,
And a lot
yeah.
of that was probably based off of like we're sitting in lockdown and you've got nothing to do but think about like, oh man, like remember when I done that? Oh shit, am I like this? Oh man, like, and you start think about a lot of stuff. I think a lot of people struggled with mental health stuff.
I was gonna say, I think
we're
like
all sick of hearing about it as well, but
I
We
think
were both working it.
We worked through
We
that.
both of us worked through it.
Yeah.
What were you doing? Like,
I worked on the trains.
Really, just eating rolls and haggis and cried on you.
yeah.
fair enough, son.
It was a tough time, you know what I mean? And I think a lot of people's mental health were impacted in that time. But I think, like,
It's a pure generic thing to say now. Is like, oh, lockdown this and lockdown that. But see, when it is genuinely like the case, it's like, well, you know.
and you're like stuck at home all day and everything. But then also, I think on top of that, like, I've got mental health struggles as well, like, even prior to COVID. So it's like that, and then that happens, and it's just like you just feel shite.
Does that
all
just
the time.
amplify it if you're stuck in a house by yourself?
Yeah.
You've got no one to talk to, like, in person, and you've only really got yourself and your thoughts running through
Exactly.
your mind. That's,
Exactly.
suppose
And
that
it can
wouldn't
be
a
quite
good thing.
scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be quite scary. So,
But it is quite funny because I think when we done our headline at Sneaky Pete's, like we had people coming up to us that we'd never met, and they were telling us like, oh no, I really like the songs, and like, is it about this? Because I felt like when I heard those lyrics or I read that, like, it's pure cheesy to say it, but like it was like, because we were sitting going, all right, man, this is weird. People actually
It's
listen
nice,
to stuff.
but people are connected, mate. on an
Exactly,
emotional
yeah,
level.
yes. Because we were like, oh, people going to like this, or people going, oh my God. And then people, when they come up to you, especially people you don't know, and are like, oh, this is cool, and this and that, and they tell you all this stuff, and you're just like, all right, okay. Because, like, famously, like, I don't take compliments well. I think it's quite well
Neither
known.
do I.
So she was laughing at me when people were talking to me about this stuff, and I was just like, thanks, man.
it was even like out with the Sneaky Pete show, like we got a DM from this guy on Instagram maybe like a week ago, and he was like, oh, I've just discovered you guys, and like I really connect with your lyrics and your music, and like, you know, thanks for doing what you're doing, keep at it. And it's like it's
really nice as well, because you're like, oh, like, there are actual nice people kind of it.
it's just
Yeah.
really
Yeah,
encouraging to know that even though we've got our struggles and we kind of put that into like our music and our art, that there's people that can take that and resonate with it, and it probably makes them feel less alone and makes them feel better. Because I think like
It's happened with us. and
with
a lot
us,
of
yeah,
bands. It
like
happens
with our
everybody.
with our favorite bands,
Yeah.
like we've connected with their music because in some sort of way we've emotionally, you know, got that connection there, and it's just lovely that with this project we can give back to people the same
that's
way
nice.
that artists have done that to us. So
Has it helped you with your mental health? Getting it out there and putting it into song?
Aye.
yeah, I would
Yeah.
say so, because like
Must be a weight off your shoulder if
Yeah.
oh, it's a
When you
weird,
get compliments, if it's
Yeah,
an emotional
oh, for
attachment.
sure.
I think it's really
sure.
weird because we've said, like, obviously I don't sing or anything like that. Like, I mean, you always try.
Do you ever sing?
No.
He's a song.
He does, he does sing on
a guitar,
occasion,
but no.
but he's like, oh, even our producers being like, Craig, we've got to get you on a song. He's like, nope.
No. Because, like, when we write everything and then bring it into Edwin, and, like, it's kind of like, we're like 50% done, and then, like, Edwin, like, works his magic and stuff, and he's always like, oh, it'd be cool if you sang it. No, I'm not singing there. I'm not doing it. Maybe one day, like, if I get enough red stripe, like, down me or something, and I'll just be like, aye, I'll sing, mate, no bother, like, but I don't know, we'll see.
Just
Maybe
you
one
need to
day.
give it a bash. Like, whenever we
Probably.
talk about like Depeche Mode, and that's one of my favourite elements of Depeche Mode. Is obviously you've got Dave Gann singing, but I've always loved Martin Gore's harmonising
Yeah,
on
yeah.
top of it, and that guy's voice does things to me that a fucking
good.
guy's voice shouldn't do. But
Yeah.
it sounds unreal. I mean, if you can make it work, like.
Yeah. Because I
Give
think
it
he
a
even
bash.
sings the let's not make this a doubt. She said, please don't make it a Depeche Mode. but no, like, even when, because I think they do, when they do Strange Love now, he sings the entire
Yeah.
song now, doesn't he?
Yeah, an acoustic,
And,
yeah.
and you're like, oh, that's weird, but not in a bad way, just like you're used to hearing like the, you know, like
The
way the song
upbeat,
is.
yeah.
I don't know if it's maybe because Dave's like, I can't sing that anymore. Because when they sing that song, right, no, what? No, let's not. We'll be here all day. We'll talk about it later.
But I
Go for a
mean,
pint at one point and just talk about the Depeche Mode.
that's what I really love about like Jess's contribution to the project, because like she
Yeah, which is probably a good thing to note that there is three
Oh,
in
yeah.
the band.
yeah, there is
Jess
three of
isn't-
us.
Jess
Jess
isn't here.
unfortunately couldn't
Yeah.
make it today, but she is just absolutely fantastic at coming up with harmonies, you know. And I think like when it's come to like our recordings and stuff, I think like because we've got quite similar voices as well, like our voices just blend so beautifully.
And then Edwin sticks little Otter Boy on it and makes like, pitches her vocals down to like.
But like for example, like, you know, a song that's popping into my head is like our track Pause, and there's like a harmony in the last like choruses, and
Jess is obsessed with harmonies, man.
She,
like, not in a bad way, like she's just,
you would
she'll
think,
listen to something and she'll go and then sings.
You would think in band practice that she was actually the singer, because she's always singing and humming away and stuff, and then there's me just like, okay.
Sitting singing in like Irish and Gaelic and.
Oh, she loves her trad music, doesn't she?
Yeah.
So, but no, she's got a really beautiful voice. So we've got some vocals in there, which is good.
Which aren't you?
But we will get.
Who mainly does the writing of the songs?
Yeah, it's mainly me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I'll sit and write pretty much all the music and arrange all the songs and everything like that, and then come up with like a bare bones melody idea, maybe like a few lyrics, like here's a line for the chorus, here's a line for
or
the
maybe
verse.
like or you'll come up with a full verse or chorus or something,
and then throw it at you, and then you're just like, right, what about this? What do you think about this? Blah 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 blah. Show it to Jess.
Yep.
She kind of says, oh, what if you change this melody here or there?
She does her Salt Bay moment.
Yeah. and then I'll maybe like screw around with it a while longer, and then we'll go to Edinburgh and then into Edmund's studio, and then we'll essentially kind of.
So Edmund is your producer?
Yeah.
Is
Edwin,
he like the fourth member?
Pretty much.
He is the
unspoken,
unofficial fourth member of Neverfine.
He's like literally one of the best people I've ever met, and I'm not just saying
he is
so best. He's amazing.
He's such a cool guy, and it's always so chill when we go there as well. It's like it doesn't feel like
very formalized.
Yeah. You walk in, he's like, "Hey, how's it going?" And we'll sit and chat shite for like an hour before we actually get started on the tunes.
Like, we should probably work on music. We've been talking for 3 hours. It's like, all right. But you wouldn't do that if it was like, you know, if it was just a producer you're paying and it's very like professional. You'd be like, right, in music, cool. Like, have a break, right? More music, right? See you next time. Whether it's when we go in with Edwin, it's like we're working with someone that's our friend and stuff. And
actually wants to chill with you.
And the thing is, as well, he really puts the time and effort into, like, you can see that his heart and soul is put into, like, the projects he works on as well. And, like, I mean, oh, bless his heart. The last week that it was the final week of us finishing our EP. He came down with COVID and he still went into the studio and finished the tunes for us. That is how much of a rock star he is.
When he listens back to it, he's like, oh, because I think it was me and him, we went in for like a session where we were like producing some stuff. And then he was like, man, I listened back to some of those songs. I'm like, I cannot remember like mixing it. I can't remember. Because he was like, he didn't have I don't think he had COVID for like the entire time or something, was it? I can't remember. So. And then he got it like after all that time and he was like, mate, it hit me so hard. Like, he's like, I can't remember finishing that EP. I was like, all right, okay. Let's make sure you never get ill again when you're finishing stuff.
He did a cracking job.
No, he's amazing. He's really good because we get a lot of compliments on like how everything sounds in the production. And they're always like, oh, do you do this? Do you do that? And I'm like, aye, but like, and then I always point the
that's one thing I was going to say to you is for like a first sort of entry with the EP, just how clean it sounds for like the first release for you guys is pretty unheard of bands having a production that sounds that tight. Because you hear some folks like first releases and you think, God, that's a bit rough. But yours does sound like a complete package, even though it's what, like 5-6 songs long, 18 minutes long, the EP. So it sounds brilliant. I really like it. I really like it.
I think that was like a big thing is like, because we were saying if we're going to do this, we're going to do it properly. Yeah,
we're perfectionists. And then also bearing in mind as well, sometimes, but like it's been years in the making as well. Like, okay, we launched Neverfine earlier this year, but that's not been without the last 3 years of working on these songs, really refining things and
a lot of that's been like researching, like we say, music business stuff and like how we're going to do this, how are we going to approach things, people, blah blah blah. So it was like the second that we like when we, I think it was at end of March, start of April, when we were like, right, Neverfine's a thing on Instagram and all this kind of stuff. We were very like, we had a lot of stuff banked up and a lot of, right, this is who we're going to send stuff to and blah blah blah. So it was very like from the word go.
We had a strategy, and we also wrote down, like, at the start of the year, we were like,
a yearly plan.
Yeah, we were like, oh, this is what we want to, like, achieve and earn this year. And it's mad because, like, we've done pretty much all of it
And
and
more.
exceeded that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And
Well done.
just
Thanks,
thank you. Like the reception that we've received since launching the band has just been unprecedented, but in the best way. Unprecedented. Sounds so formal, sorry. Just ignore me, I'm
Bit
talking
Liz
shite
Truss
now.
for a second.
No,
Unprecedented.
Was that
But-
helped with your background? That
Sorry?
you did music management, planning out your actual plan of attack. Did that help with your background there?
a wee bit. I mean, it was actually more you doing more research, to be honest.
Genuinely, like you sit and you watch YouTube videos of like Bailey Zerian doing makeup and that.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I spend,
murder
like,
mystery
8 hours.
makeup.
Yeah. So she'll like watch that and like kind of chill, and then I'm watching 8 hours straight of like music business management, like what's happening, the only thing I don't know anything about, and I'll admit it, and I don't mind, is TikTok. Like I'm so like that's the one thing I don't get. You're more a TikTok person.
Yeah, I mean, like there were certain things here and there that, like, from my kind of music background and my studies and stuff that I was aware of. Like, for example, like White Days, you know,
Yeah,
and
Because Olaf that runs Wide Days, I think he came into your course, or you were introduced him through.
well,
your
I
course?
used to attend. So you used to have these monthly sessions in Edinburgh called Born to Be Wide, and essentially they were like, you know, an evening where you would come in, you'd meet industry people, and you know, it was a networking event essentially. And then once a year, they host this event called Wide Days, where they get like all these industry people from all over the world come in doing like talks and stuff, and then they'll get showcase artists from different areas in the world. Like there was a bunch of Canadian artists this year, a bunch of Spanish artists, you know, Mexico, and
we met quite a lot of cool. Because I went to, not this year's one, I went to last year's one by myself, and it was like, so that's how long we've been like planning stuff and that. So I went there to like talk to people about like what you're looking for in bands, like how would you do this, how would you do that, and that helped as well.
So you weren't telling them that you had a project.
No,
you were
I was just saying, like, just saying, like, talk to
undercover.
people,
Yeah.
Oh,
and then we went to Wide Days, all three of us this year, and then, which was really good. But then I think like you and Jess were like, right, I'm going to tap out, and then I went to all the shows and that, and ended up getting a wee bit too drunk. But met like some amazing people,
Some
like
really cool
Caesar.
people.
He works for, is it Live Nation?
Live Nation
And
Spain.
he takes a lot to do with booking, like Mad Cool and that, and he fantastic person, he's a great guy. And then Mikey,
from
who works for M for
M for Montreal, yeah.
I think he's from California originally, but like he grew up with like the Diaz twins, like from the UFC and that.
All right,
So
yeah.
so
When
he
Nate
grew up
met-
with, he's friends with all them and stuff, which is insane. I was like, no, you're not. And then he showed me photos of like him in school and him getting drunk with him and all that, and I was like, what the fuck? But
Good
like,
connections to have.
exactly.
right?
Oh,
Good
Yeah.
connections.
If I need backup, I'll phone Nate Diaz. No, but I'd be intimidated as fuck if I was in the same room as the
Yeah.
Diaz brothers. But no, like, yeah, it's quite. I think like meeting people like that's quite cool as well, because then you're just like that'll help down the line, you know.
I was
and
gonna
it's-
say,
'cause
like-
Mikey was very like very wanted to do stuff with us down the line and that. But you have to, I think you have to. As good as stuff's been this year, and we've done a lot of stuff, we were like, oh, didn't think this would happen, because it's not even been a year since we've not even been a band for a year properly.
Yeah,
like
it's been
in
9 months.
April it'll be a year. But like, while stuff has happened like really quickly for us, and we've achieved a lot, and we're like, oh, that's amazing. We're also aware that it's not like, you know, we're not like massive or anything yet, obviously.
Yeah.
So you have to get to that point of like, right, you've achieved this, you've done that, and be able to show that you're at a certain point that you'll be able to go to different countries. So, you know, it's good, but it's good to meet people like Mikey and Caesar, who down the line can be like, do you want to come to Spain? Do you want to come to Canada?
Yeah,
You know?
like I
Yeah.
think like one of the best advices that I could give like any band or artist is, if you want to take it seriously,
Go to
get
stuff like that.
involved
Yeah.
with these music conferences.
Resonate as well.
Resonate,
Everything like
you
that.
know, yeah, Wide Days, like they are there to offer the resource, the help, the support, the networking opportunities. And it honestly, like it does pay off, you know, because then you're building that relationship with people, you're meeting industry people who, you know, who might be able to, you know, pass the word on to another person who might be able to offer you something else, you know, and just building, just don't make it like transactional. Like it needs to be authentic. Build
Yeah.
a real relationship
Yeah.
with these people.
'Cause
Become
we
friends
have-
with these people.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because they can see a bullshitter from a mile
Yeah,
off.
yeah.
These people have been working in the industry for years. You know, so they can see a bullshitter when there's one. You know, so like actually get to know these people. Don't approach these people thinking,
Don't
oh,
ask for something right away. Don't
Yeah.
be like, hello, could you do this for us? Because that doesn't work. Talk to
Exactly.
just go up to them, like introduce yourself, just talk to them normally.
just talk to them, get to know them as people, you know, and it does.
And that's helped us just being like, you know what, like we don't approach anyone with like an aim or that. We just want to introduce ourselves and like work with people, and I think that's been a
get to know
massive part of
people.
why things have went really well, and then we ended up playing Resonate last month and stuff.
Yeah.
Which was like out of nowhere, and we didn't think that would happen. I think a lot of that came from we were going to like,
Well, we were going to their
events and
monthly
stuff,
events
yeah.
because they have monthly events here in Glasgow.
which we actually saw Cryptic, who you done a podcast with.
Oh, is that what you
Yeah,
played?
That's
at?
how we
Yeah,
saw
he
him for
was
the
there.
first time, I think it was.
Yeah.
He's a great guy, by the
Oh,
way.
he's amazing.
He's pals with my sister, that's who.
Oh, right, is that who you one? I
Small
loved
world.
it. I loved that podcast so much. She was like, "What are you watching?" I was like, "It's Cryptic." It's on it." And then,
But
actually-
it,
We
like,
actually put his song through that, the ayahuasca song.
oh right, yeah.
And it got blocked for a lot of countries. We got notifications saying cause of copyright, it won't get released anywhere else, and it was
Alright.
only people that could click on the link would watch it.
All right.
That's for
Let's
sure.
And then so I messaged him and he's like, ah, it's my fucking song.
it's mad how that works though, because so many like artists will turn around and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, no, like I authorize the use of my
Yeah.
song, but my label won't allow it," and it's I
a
could.
whole thing.
That's a whole other
Yeah.
podcast. You know what I mean?
But
Copyright law's weird, man.
Cryptid's credit, he said, I love the episode. I just wanted to stay the same. He loved it.
Yeah.
That's good, man.
Nah, he's a good guy. But like Resonate in particular, like as well, they've been really supportive of our music this year, and it's fantastic because they actually they have like a playlist that they put on like Spotify. I'm not sure if it's on other streaming platforms, but they've got a Spotify playlist where you can submit a track and they'll add it to the playlist if they like it. So that, and then going to the monthly events that they've got on and getting to know people
Yeah.
and stuff. And then
also just like aside from all that kind of stuff, just go to gigs, man.
go to
There's so many bands that like we've met in that, and like again, no shade to it. There's so many people we've met, and they're talented in that, but you just don't see them at shows, you know. And it's like we understand as well, like nobody's got money now. But just go to a local gig. That's like, see when you've got a tenner and you're like, all right, I'm either gonna spend that on booze or I'm gonna go to a gig. Just go to a gig. Just go and meet people, because we became quite pally with like Majesty Pam and stuff, and a lot of other bands like Low Rays and like just a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And it's from literally just going to gigs and being like, just meeting these people, and yeah, I think that's just a big thing as well.
Yeah.
And also if you want to be in a band and you want to like get somewhere with it, just go to gigs, because you're not going to be able to, you know.
if
The
you don't
Scottish
put
music
yourself out
seems,
there.
seems good for that, but doesn't it? It seems a good community in the
it's
Scottish,
fantastic.
especially in
Yeah.
Glasgow.
Exactly.
Very
Yeah.
supportive of one another.
Yeah, 'cause
We
I
came
think that's
across
what-
that with bands, haven't we?
When they've come in, absolutely.
Because you
Yeah.
said that as well, like Edinburgh's good, but there's not enough going on in Edinburgh, so a lot
Yeah.
of people tend to come through to Glasgow to kind of get like play more gigs or get more opportunities and stuff.
But
it's like the
definitely.
London of Scotland that way, like.
But
you say
no,
that
you're
last part,
absolutely
you said
right
that,
though.
didn't
you?
Is like everyone like is so supportive of one another, and we've made so many friends this year.
Yeah.
That have really like that some of them want to like collaborate with us in future projects and stuff. You know what I mean? So like not only are you doing a service to the music industry, and it's authentic, and it's I can't find the word, but like it's just good. It's a good vibe, But also, you're building, these relationships, and you don't know what could come of them,
Yeah.
and it's just it's great, and it also helps that everyone's music is just fucking fantastic
Yeah.
as well. So you are inclined to support them because they're putting out great music anyway, aren't
It
they?
makes it
So,
easier when they're good, eh?
Exactly. Yeah.
You plan to do any collaborations with anybody?
I mean, yeah, we would like to
Is
do
that a
some.
spoiler alert?
No,
Maybe slightly.
we would like to do some collaborations, wouldn't we? We've got some people in mind that we would quite like to work on stuff with.
Yeah, I think like again, Cammy from Majesty Pam like came up to the flat the other day, and me and him spent. I think it was just 4 hours or something, the songwriting, and the amount of stuff we got done in that time is ridiculous. And then it turned out that like he's never worked with someone, because the way that they work in their music is very similar to the way that we work in it. Like he writes most of the music and then he gives that to Olivia, and Olivia will write the lyrics and all this stuff. But he's never like sat and wrote anything with anyone else, and neither have I. So it was very like, and then he was saying, "Oh, what about this?" And I was like, "Oh, I was great at that. What about this? Oh my god!" So like, I think it'd be cool if something came of that, but it's just that kind of thing. We want to work with more people and kind of because we enjoy so many people like in the Scottish music scene, and like you say, especially Glasgow as well. That we were like, it'd be cool to work with them and.
Yeah, and just working with people that like are in different genres as well. Like we've got some like rappers in mind that we would quite like to work with maybe at some point, and some like electronic artists and everything as well. So yeah, who knows?
Is there many other like electronic bands like yourselves in Glasgow or in Scotland in general?
I mean,
they're like underground, not like famous or
There's
anything like that.
I think there's a lot of people that do electronic, like a lot of people do electronic stuff, but it doesn't get. And the thing with electronic stuff is it can be quite niche as well. You know, you get people who do like modular synth stuff. Like I don't know how much you know about modular stuff. Like, so like that can get a bit, you know, like bizarre, and songs can last like 20 minutes and stuff. But then like, you know, there are a lot of people doing electronic stuff, but it doesn't get the love it deserves. But I also think it's maybe just because a lot of people don't. I don't want to say don't get a lot of it, but it is quite. You know, it's like Aphex Twin kind of stuff.
Yep.
Like, it's not exactly pop music. It's quite niche, but like he's found a way to break through with it. But I think it's a lot like that. But there are a lot of good people.
Yeah, I think in terms of like the pop genre, I know that's quite like, you know, widespread, but I think your kind of standard typical idea of pop music, it is starting to grow in Scotland. I've noticed, like.
But it's not like in Scotland. It's not, oh, here's a Dua Lipa kind of person.
Yeah.
Here's a. Big Day versus Vleur.
Yeah.
Because Vleur are doing really well. And then you've got, I don't know.
The Big Day, I was going to mention them to you, so obviously you'll know who they are.
Yeah,
but they're
because
like,
they played at Resonate as well. And
Yeah.
we've gone to them a couple of times,
Yeah.
But there's just like so many people. Like there's so many bands who are so different, but they're all doing so well. And I think that's really good. And it's not just like, you know, again, it's not just indie bands that are playing and that's the only kind of music that's coming out of Scotland. I think Scotland are doing really well at putting a lot of different stuff out, and a lot of people all around the world are picking it up, you know?
Yeah.
So I think
it's
that's
definitely just so good in terms of the music scene. I could give an endless list of Scottish musicians that are just doing so well right now, or very
you need to send them over to me.
Yeah, I'll send you a list.
100%.
Get them in the studio.
Oh, totally.
That's actually been like one of my most enjoyable aspects of doing this, is like refinding my love for like homegrown music. Whereas before, like, well, years ago, I was like into like the hip hop scene in Edinburgh, and I kind of just stopped like paying attention to it. Same with like indie bands and all that. And then when it came to like reaching out for bands to come on here, I'm finding some and I'm just like, holy shit, like the bar has been set so high for underground bands now, like, or unsigned bands, like it's unreal. It's absolutely unreal.
And it's also like just people's aesthetic and all that's down as well now, which I really like, you know. Like people understand it's not just music that you're putting out, it's like visually it's
their
yourself
image
and
as
how
well.
to do that. And I like when that's all one big package. Like Vleur, they know what they look like, their image matches their music.
Aesthetic,
Woke Disco is really good. Woke Disco's
The
like,
band we had on last, the Wits, had a total good vibe as well, didn't
yeah,
they?
they've got kind of
80s.
Smiths kind of vibe thing. Guy, because the boy that was on, I can't remember his name, but I saw his name and I was like, that's proper like Morrissey type. It's really cool. But I like people that go like, I want to look like this and sound like this, and it shows that they have a whole vision for stuff. And I think that shows that they're putting a lot of thought into it. They're not just going, I'll just write a couple of songs.
Do you think that maybe comes into like being brought up in the generation of like social media, where image is such a
100%.
big thing, but now they've found a way to be like, right, we can like capitalize on that. Like if we're in a band, we get the whole, like, obviously there's a sound, but the image that comes with it as well. So they have
100%.
it tight, like by the time it comes round.
I think in this day and age, like, you cannot just be a musician. You have to do something on top
You
of
do
that.
get people who are just so talented and insane that they can wear and do whatever they want. Like Jacob Collier just cuts about in his bare feet, and he just wears like
Yeah.
he just wears like stoner hoodies and all that. But
Yeah.
he's like
He
so
is
talented that you're just he
insanely
doesn't.
talented.
Yeah, you get people like that who don't need to.
But I mean-
Thundercat can wear whatever he wants.
But I think like in terms of your standard like up and coming musician, like
yeah.
you know, you have to be on social media, you know, to put yourself out there. You have to be on Instagram,
Not long ago,
TikTok.
you can't just be a musician. You have to be a musician, a producer, a
Influencer.
photographer, influencer, graphic designer, PR person. Like, because when you start, like, nobody's got the money to pay for all this, you know? Like, there's PR agencies that will get in touch with us and they're like, oh, we'd like to work with you. And we're like, all right, cool. Yeah, it's £2,500 for, like, a month of PR. And we're like, no, we'll just contact press by ourselves. Like, I don't mind sending
Crazy though, because in this
emails.
day and age, you do not need anybody to do what you need to do.
Exactly.
Oh, totally.
When it gets to a
Yeah.
certain
Teach yourself
stage,
anything
obviously,
when
you're
you're
like,
young.
all right, you could do a manager, you could do all this. But just, like, it might be a lot more work to do stuff by yourself, but, you know, it's, like, worth it and it's cheaper and stuff. And
More personal as well. It means more to you.
Exactly,
Yeah.
It's
exactly.
done in your way.
Yeah. But I
Exactly.
think
You've
it's-
got more creative control and
100%.
direction of where to take things.
No
and
down
stuff.
your ear saying, well, maybe you should change that.
Exactly.
Put it that way.
Exactly.
So you
Right, no, it's your
still,
vision.
oh sorry, you still without a manager now then?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, it's literally just us. We don't. I
So
think-
if anyone wants to take us on, just saying, we don't have a manager.
Yeah. No, but like it was funny, but because when we were talking to like the Resonate team, they were like, "Oh, you're managed by so and so," and we went, "No, not managed." Oh, because we were told by this person. No, not managed by them because they manage like quite a. I think it was Idlewild and stuff, and we were just like, "Oh,
Yeah.
not got a manager." They were like, "Oh, okay then, that's cool." It's just very like I don't know how that came about, but it's like I don't know. Stuff's happened so quickly for us that we want to stay on that trajectory and keep the ball rolling. And
So
then
you're
maybe
looking
one
for
day-
a manager?
We're not-
if it was like if they came to us and were like I see what you're trying to do and I want to help you get there, that's fine and stuff. And if it was like a good vibe and we got on with them, yeah, but I don't think we're at a point when it's like a necessity or that.
We're not in a rush to get a manager right now.
We
'cause,
got a
like,
lot of them following our socials now. So
Yeah.
we can be a plug for you. And he's
See,
out there, give the guys a shout.
We're not in a rush to get a manager, but you know, as Craig said, if someone came along and they were able to provide
fitted
something
well.
worthwhile,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But I think like with where we're at, thankfully, and bearing in mind as well, we're still at very early stages of Neverfine and stuff. We can we've been able to manage everything up until this
Everything's
point.
went good now.
Everything
To this
like
point.
we have literally
Knock
been
on
our
wood,
own
so,
manager, PR, you know, we've funded everything ourselves.
Mm.
Well, we've obviously got support from Resonate now, but up until that point everything
Yeah,
was
done by yourself.
self-funded,
Yeah.
completely
and you'll know
independent.
with like setting like this place up because it looks so good. Like you know, like setting stuff up isn't cheap.
It's
like,
expensive.
No,
one
it's very
mic alone is
expensive.
like a lot. So like if you
Even when you budget, you go over.
exactly like
yeah.
nothing ever goes to plan. It's like playing a gig, man. Like we're as organised as can be. Like and we go to venues and it's always like something always goes wrong. So you will end up spending more. Or you will end up doing this with that.
100%.
But like I say, you know yourself how much a headache it is to try and like set stuff up financially. and
Yeah,
that's
it's a pain in the backside when you think everything's done.
yeah,
And then
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, no, I need to go and get this now.
I know, exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
You were
But-
like, oh, I've got everything. No, you need a specific cable for that. Oh, fuck.
Yes.
You know, and then you're on Amazon looking for the one. That's
Set up a
cost
mic,
20
you're like, you need a cloud lift. I'm like,
Exactly.
"Why?"
It's a cloud lifter, man. What's that? Like, yeah.
But yeah, as I said, if they can contribute something meaningful and really help us
I love how
kind
you're
of
straight back on like, no, but what I'm
Business
saying is, I'm a manager. I don't care about cloud lifters. No, tonight, like,
But if you know, if they're able to kind of help us, you know,
Yeah,
on our
yeah.
journey and stuff and everything, then we're open
cool.
to it. We
Yeah,
are
yeah,
open
yeah.
to it. So yeah,
It
just
will
wait.
help
and
you
see
out
what
a lot
happens.
more as well.
it would, yeah, because obviously, like, there's a lot of managers around Scotland and the UK and stuff, and they're able to just be like, I know this person, I know that person, I'll be able to help you with this, and you know, and a lot of them aren't like, you know, but people always think, oh, you need to pay them and that, but you know, if you meet the right person, you work something out, and then eventually, when you start making money, blah blah blah, give back to them and stuff. But
Yeah.
I don't know, we'll see what happens.
See what you learnt from business management, would that only get you so far, do you think, until you would be thinking, right, we do actually need someone to take the reins here?
Yeah, I think like if it got to a point where, you know, if we continued on a trajectory where it got to that point where, for example, like we're booking tours and you know, and festivals and you know,
When it got to the point of too much that you're like, right, I can't do all this. Plus, look at so many
all
emails
these
and
emails
stuff
every day and stuff,
you know.
then at that point it would be like, well, we kind of have to bite the bullet and accept that we do need someone to take the reins, so it's if it gets to that point, then
when it gets to that point, come on, have some faith. You're really mature.
You're really
for
on
Hank.
that path.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So see, obviously the EP comes out shit hot. It's time to perform live. What's it like for you guys performing live?
In terms of setting it up, or just in
Just
general?
like,
Just
well, setting it up, like as you were
feeling
saying,
of it as
yeah, like
setting it up's a fucking headache, man. It's like, I'm not no thing to you and Jess, but it is like, you're like, right, Craig, this is your time to shine. And I'm like, fucking hell.
Well, see well, obviously you said you were in like bands, like drums and that before. Did that help you a wee bit when it came to setting up? Or?
Kind of, but see, when you're at that age and you're playing metal and that, like people, I think nowadays it's different because you've got like gent and all these genres of metal where it's very like, we're focused on the tech behind it, and you've got like Kempers and Axe Effects and everyone wants the perfect guitar tone and blah blah blah. It's harder for drums because you're at the mercy of the sound guy a lot of the time. Like, you can't go, I want this perfect drum sound, I've got this trigger and you're going to do this and you're going to EQ that. But with metal it's a bit, I think being able to gig and know what it's like to gig and know like, oh, this is a sound guy, this is that, I think that helps. But I think with what we do, it's more involved because we had to build like a whole rack of all this stuff, and then we use Ableton Live to run everything, and it's just like, it's very involved. Like, I don't know how many hours I spent. But I enjoy it though. But when you look at the rack behind it, what was it like that day I got everything? There's like 150 cables behind it, and I'm just like, oh, this is so fun.
However, it does pay off because every single sound tech that we've had so far.
They've just said to us, so what am I doing, mate? Am I just plugging that in and that's it? And I'm like, he's like, oh, I love you, mate. It's just so easy. It's like, it's cost a bit of money, but I'm happy to do that in the long run because, again, if you make a sound guy happy and you make their day easy, then they're like, all right, I'll easily put a wee bit of effort into making you sound good because you've done me a solid and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a pain. But in terms of like, I don't know, you want to talk about playing live and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, like, so like I'll kind of usually help Craig with like setting up the stage and stuff, and then Jess is like
usually
setting up
you're just like,
usually.
you did that, Craig. Or you're after trying to backtrack there. I usually help
too
him.
busy talking to the promoter.
It's because like when we finish as well, people always rush up and try to talk to you and that, and then I'm just like, I'll take everything off by myself. It's
Well,
fine.
the thing is, so like that's a thing that, like, as much as I appreciate people coming up and complimenting us and stuff,
You
like,
always feel bad. Like, I need to help
I
Craig
do
off
feel
with this
bad
stuff.
because it's like I don't like doing that to other artists, and I don't really like when people come up to me. I don't
became
mind.
a diva already, man. Jesus Christ! Like,
But like, see,
don't
like,
come near me, peasant.
see
Oh
if
my
we've
God.
like just finished our set and we're taking down our stuff and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
I would appreciate just being left to help Craig and the team
And then
just
you can
take
do
down
it
the stuff.
I think it's
Then
more
I can
she
talk
feels
to
bad. She
people.
always says after gigs, if I take everything off and I'm tearing down stuff and packing up, she's like, I feel genuinely really bad that you've done all of that. And it's like, dude, it's fine, chill. And then she's
Yeah.
like, no,
Part
I
and
get
parcel
pure
of the
anxious
gig.
about it.
I
And I'm
will
like, dude,
say
chill, it's
though,
cool.
the exception to that was when we played Sneaky Pete's, and I was helping Craig take down everything.
Oh, is this
and
your-
I saw one of my friends in the crowd, and she's been an online friend of mine for the last 10 years.
Never met in person.
Never met in person. She stays in Sheffield.
She came up for the gig.
And she came
We were
up for the
telling
gig, and I had no idea. I saw her, and I was like, oh my God!
It was quite funny, but because she was like, Craig, what do you want me to take? And I was like, oh, can you take these cables? Yeah. And then I turned around and I just heard like screaming. And I was like, what the fuck? Cables on the ground. She just fucking jumped off the stage. I'm like, who's that? What the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, I'm going to take
That was
everything
my
off
friend
myself.
Lily. And I was just like, I was so happy to see her that night. So, yeah, that was an exception, you know what I mean? But
You'll let you away with that one.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Let you away with that.
But
Just that one. Like,
Just
not
that one.
again.
aye. But no, usually like our stage setup, thankfully, is pretty, it's relatively simple, I would say. It's pretty straightforward. And
Yeah.
then, it gives us enough time to do like a sound check or a line check, whatever, we're allocated to for whatever show.
It's usually quite simple.
Yeah, it's usually quite simple.
There was a few kinks at the first couple of gigs, but then I like literally. I think it was after. What gig was it after? I think it was after the Central Belters one.
Broadcast.
Yeah, broadcast. There was a few issues, and I was like, "What is it? No, what is that?" Because I didn't. We like the sound guy was saying, "Oh, no," I kept saying, "Oh, no, it'll be this," and the sound guy was like, "No, it's not that." And I was like, "Mate, it will be this," and he's like, "No, it's not." I was like, "For God's sake!" And then the next day, I woke up and I was really ill.
Oh, that was so funny.
I was really ill, and I was like, "Give me the." So I'm sitting with the full live rack and the laptop in my bed, just like dying, and I was like, "Right, I'll try the thing I said it was and see if that fixes it." Done it, and it worked, and I was like,
Literally a 2-second fix.
so fucking angry.
Yeah.
It wasn't no with him, just like with myself, and just frustrated. I was like, I should have just done it, man.
But
But
I
just
think-
stuff like that, like, you know.
I think with each show though, like,
We've worked out the kinks to the point it's quite smooth.
yeah, and we're always constantly learning along the way, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's
Yeah.
like, well, what can we take from the last show and improve for our next show, you know what I mean? So it's a constant learning curve in that regard, you know, but I think we've got to a point now where we're quite satisfied with our
Yeah.
setup.
I wouldn't say
aren't
we've
we?
got it down to a side. It's like where we've got it at, we're happy with it and that, but we know that there's certain things we want to do to make it better. But again, that's going to cost a bit of money.
Yeah, but then like, oh,
That'll
my
come.
phone's flashing,
Ah,
sorry.
Welcome.
Exactly.
But yeah, just in terms of our overall like live performance and stuff, like it's just like, you know, a standard typical singer on stage, you know. But I do have my own mic stand that I love. It's one of those weighted.
That's her
white-
one bit of gear. I have my mic and I've got
it's
my
so
stand. And I'm
funny.
like,
It's so funny. Every single show that we do, the sound guy will adjust the mic stand
She
and he'll
walks
make it
up and
far
it's
too
up
tall.
there.
So I'm like, I'm like, if you think it's too short, go shorter. Because I'm only 4'11". I'm tiny.
that's what like Phoebe for the BBC said as well. Like when she comes, Phoebe said this to you. I'm not saying like I think I
Yeah.
have this opinion, but when you talk to Ashley, she's very like timid sometimes. She's like, "All right, hello, it's nice to meet you." And then she goes on stage, and then even for a 4'11",
Yes.
lassie, she just goes mental. And like even Phoebe said, like you just wouldn't expect it because it's like you're very nice, you're very timid, you're very like, "Hello, nice to meet you." And then on stage you're like, "Fuck you."
But
Like,
but I think it's because
she doesn't
like,
actually say "fuck you" by the way, just to be clear.
I think it's because like on stage that's where I feel most confident and that's where I thrive most.
That
So
way you're
it's-
mostly yourself.
Yeah. So I think that's where all of that energy and, you know, like angstiness and
That's where the metal band Ashley comes out. like,
yeah, you know, so and then also like, you know, just taking inspiration and like, you know, looking at my favorite artists and seeing how they are on stage. Like I'm very particular about like how I present myself because I'm aware of the fact that I am, you know, as the front person of the band, I'm going to be the main focal point, you
The
know.
first thing they see.
Exactly. So you want to make, especially if it's people's first time seeing you live, you want to make a good and lasting impression. So that's why I just try and put that out there, you know.
And I get to hide behind
Yeah.
everything.
Well, sometimes you have your moment on stage. Like
Yeah.
at our headline show, it was pretty cool because Craig had some like wee solo moments where he could have his moment to shine. Eh?
That was quite cool, yeah.
It was awesome.
And then everyone's like, "Oh, it was really good." And I'm like, "Oh, cheers, man."
Do you actually enjoy performing?
No, I love it. I really like what you fucking hate it. Why are you in a band, mate? You just hate it. No, I really like performing in that. It's like I don't know. I don't know what else to say. It's
I
really
think
fun. It's because I think it's
performing-
weird though, because it's like I think it's different for me. Because like I'm always just like, right, how's this working? Is that going right? What part is
Oh,
this
right,
right?
you're-
Whether
You're
she's like
thinking.
I think singing is, and especially when that is solely what you're doing, is more stressful because you're like bearing your soul to people. You know, like you are your instrument. Do you know what I mean? You're not relying on like I can press keys and pads and, you know, turn stuff for like days, but then you're in front of people. People are looking at you.
Yeah.
You know, like
and I have to make sure that I'm in tune and
Yeah.
at like, you
when
know.
she does her warm ups, it's fucking hilarious, man. It's people walk into the room and she's going. And, that's it. And everyone's like, "Is she fucking alright, man?" Like,
No, the one that kills it for me every time I do my vocal warm ups is "Mummy made me mash my M&Ms."
oh, she sings that. "Mummy made me mash my M&Ms," and I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about, man?"
Mummy made me mash
Mash
my M&Ms.
What does that help you do? Is that harmonies or
No,
pronouncing
so
words?
it's just a vocal warm ups that I do. So it helps like warm up my vocal folds
And
or
get all the
chords.
phlegm and stuff off the back of your throat.
Yeah, it just like helps open up so that like when I hit a certain note, I'm
string
more
it,
I'm more likely to hit it. Because if you don't warm up, you can easily strain or damage your voice, and you know you're more likely to be pitchy and stuff. So it's so like, oh my goodness, if you're a singer, please warm up your vocals. It is so important that you do.
It. Like you will genuinely look
but
insane
it is
doing
so
it, but it
worthwhile,
helps.
and it will save your voice in the long run. It is so important that you warm up before you sing.
Yeah.
Even though I sound a bit croaky just now, but I think that's because of the coffee. So yeah, you can tell I've not warmed up my voice today because I've not like sang yet or anything. But yeah, I'll be practicing later, so no doubt I'll be doing my mummy made me mash my M&Ms.
I'll just be sitting with a cup of tea looking
Where
at you
did you
like,
get it from?
It's just a YouTube video. Like literally I just YouTube vocal exercises, and it was just like one of the ones that came up, and then just follow that one all the time. But that
Did you
particular
use that
channel,
one because you like watched it and you went, oh, that's quite funny?
no, I think it's because like, you know, it's quite good because it's very like, you know, particular and stagnant, and you know exactly what's expected. Because I think sometimes, like, I think with any sort of tutorial or warm-up video and stuff, sometimes it can get a little bit confusing and stuff.
Yeah.
And all I want to do is just warm up my voice. Just give me a bunch of notes, you know, staccato or whatever, and I'll sing them. You know what I
Because
mean?
you get people who are like proper music theory, like you're going to do a G sharp arpeggiated,
And then they
you're
just
like,
go
"I don't
off
know
in
what
this
that
like
is."
jazz sequence, basically.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
I just want to
Just
sing
trying to warm up my voice, man.
I just want to sing a C major scale. God, please.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just get my vocal warm-ups
We're
from
shit
YouTube.
musicians. We don't know what the key and G is. I don't know what that is. I press buttons for fuck's sake. I don't know.
You
No,
hear
but
that, it
yeah,
sounds,
like-
oh yeah, that sounds all right.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
goes.
What is your setup on stage like?
For me, like my setup or just in general,
No,
just me.
Yeah.
So I use a Native Instruments Machina, which is like kind of, you've probably seen them before. Like Martin for Church is using Depeche Mode. Have used them before, I think. It's just like it's got pads on it, and you load up samples and that. But it's also
is it
got
like
knobs.
a NPC? Is it
Yeah,
NPC?
It's like an MP, like an Akai thing,
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much. It's like Native Instruments kind of version of that, and you can use it as a standalone thing. You can do so many things with it, but you can also like assign all the knobs and like sliders and that to any parameter you want. So you can change the cut off. If I wanted to like put Little Awkward Boy in Your Voice to like make it really deep or really high, I could change that live.
So that's all you doing that live?
Yeah,
on,
there's
on
a
stage?
lot of progress. We've got some playback stuff like everybody does now.
Yeah.
Like, but
Yeah.
there is a lot of like I'm like trying to program everything. Well, not program everything, but I'm
lot of
trying to
stuff.
like work.
Yeah, a lot of your stuff is programmed live.
Yeah, like more than people know. Because it's always like sometimes when you look at electronic people, especially if they have like a really minimal setup, you're like, oh, they're probably doing nothing. They're just pressing a button and that's the song. And it's like, no, there is actually.
I was
Because
gonna
that's what you think when you look at a lot of DJs. You're like, oh, they're pressing play and they're just good. But there is a lot to DJing. Like you see some people
Yeah.
who do ridiculous stuff like Amelie Lenz and all this kind of stuff. I Hate Models. And you're like, they're actually doing a lot of stuff. Like when you watch them doing Boiler Room and stuff.
That's
and all
pretty ballsy doing all that live, like what you were
Yeah.
just saying there, because like you say, there is like a few bands I've certainly seen it there where you know they're not doing much. They've got
Yeah.
a fucking huge backing track. You can
Exactly,
see
yeah.
them not doing much at all.
Exactly.
Whereas yourself, you're saying you do a lot of it live.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
pretty ballsy.
And then, like,
'cause
not only is he doing that, but simultaneously, you also play guitar. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So he's playing guitar live as well, and it's it's mental how
And
much
then all
you
the
do.
live rig and dealing with the actual Ableton session.
I don't know
and-
how he does that. I swear to God.
but it's a lot of stuff, and it's like I try to organise it as much as I can, so I'm not stressed before going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I would rather be nervous about the gig going well, just like as a show, than I would be stressed out about, oh, is this going to break? Is that done well? Is this year? So like, everything's colour coordinated, everything's numbered, everything's.
He is so organized when it comes to our rig setup. Like literally, we have like little stickers that are like we've got color allocated
Stickers.
Stickers
So Jess is
basically.
orange because she's ginger. You're, you're yellow because you like yellow and I'm
Yellow's
green
my favourite colour.
Because I support a certain team who are allocated with green, I won't say.
Say what you want.
Hibs, no kidding.
Sorry to any Hibs fans listening.
I can't say it in a bit Edinburgh
The
teams,
dozen
man.
E's.
Aye, a dozen E's. I can't say anything about Edinburgh teams, man. Hearts just humped Celtic. That was shocking. We won't talk about football. We'll sit here all day.
Yeah,
It's 2-0, ain't it?
Aye, shocking. But then, I was going to say more, but we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that. We won't talk about football.
So,
no.
Apart from having a laugh at Man United. Sorry.
Yeah. But,
Sorry
like-
if everybody's like...
but in terms of like our like live rig and stuff, again, it's a lot of preparation has been put into
Yeah.
that, and a lot of refining along the way as well, hasn't it?
Yeah,
So, but
So there is a lot going on. I think a thing is like, if you can't, like, we wear black and grey and all that stuff, because I think me and you, like, we're really into like minimalism and all that kind of crap. Not to a
Yeah.
stupid standard, but it's just the kind of stuff we like, because we like to keep things simple, just with everything. And I think like with the band setup, we were like that as well.
yeah,
We don't want to have like, you know, free, like, see when you see bands that are like our level and they're like, they've got 4 guitar changes and they're doing this and that, you're like, dude, like, come
It's
on. like,
overcomplicating it.
aye, like, so it's like,
Overcomplicating
be doing like enough. I think she says so. Be doing enough, but like don't overdo it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, so there is a lot going on, but we don't have to have umpteen bits of gear to be doing it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If there's a way to is it slimline or whatever it's called,
Just-
streamline. If there's a way to streamline the process, then we'll do it that way, and it's cheaper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why as we're
Yeah.
saying, like, it's, you know, it'll come down the line when it's like, right, no, we can do it this way, but because we're going to be playing some festivals and stuff this year.
yeah, we've got some
Yeah.
very exciting
And
things
it's-
coming up.
And it's like,
Can you announce?
no, yet. We've actually been told we can't.
Yeah.
So it's, we would if we could, but like we're not allowed to.
well,
but
we're playing King Tut's in January.
Yeah,
nice.
So we've actually
we're
got
playing it this week and then we're playing it next week.
yeah. So
next
we've
month.
got King Tut's on the 20th of December, which will be really good. That's in association with BBC Introducing Live. So like they got in touch and they were like, "Oh, we've selected you as one of the artists we want to feature," and we were like,
Yeah, they've
"Oh my
been-
god, we're gonna play King Tut's! This is mad!" You know, and then
They've been
literally.
supporting us a lot this year.
Yeah,
with
BBC
and stuff,
Introducing have been absolute champions.
And we done a live session with them as well that was so laid back.
yeah,
like-
everyone was so
Yeah.
lovely.
The highlight of that was they had a sparkling water tap.
What?
You
I know,
always-
right, man? It's mental. We went into the green room and they were like,
Every
if there's
time.
sparkling water, you press this button. If you want boiling water, you press this. And I was like, BBC money's something else, man. I was like, where's the toilets? Oh, they're in there. There's like every toilet had like a shower. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Oh, see, my
I need
highlight.
BBC money, man. I need.
My highlight was when I said to Phoebe and Shireen, I was like, "Oh, we've got cupcakes for you and the team to say thank you," and they were like, "Oh my god!" And then Phoebe said to me
The
a few
next
weeks
day,
later,
she was like, I hadn't ate all day. I was hanging out my ass. Thank you so much for bringing food into the studio. I was like, all right, that's good then. So.
she was like, "I appreciated the cupcakes so much, thank you."
But anyway,
yeah.
so we're playing King Tut's.
Playing King Tut's, yeah, we're playing King Tut's on Wednesday the 20th of December, and then that's our last show of 2023, and then we're starting 2024 by
With
doing
King
King
Tut's
Tut's
again.
again, but as
Which
part
I'm not
of
complaining about because I've
Yeah.
wanted to play King Tut's for.
When are you doing it
yonks.
in January?
26.
yeah, it's the 26th
Yeah.
of January as part of New Year's Revolution, so we're playing alongside No Windows, Bogle, and Youth for Sale.
Yeah,
Nice.
So
which
that
would be
should be
quite.
good.
There's a lot of good bands that are doing that because it's like a month of like emerging music and stuff.
I've seen that on the
Yeah.
The
King
lineup
Tut's
is
Instagram.
fantastic.
Majesty. We were meant to be supporting Majesty Pam, but then we had to push it back for a show we were doing. I think because like time wise it
Yeah.
didn't work out. So
Yeah.
then we moved the show. But go see Majesty Pam live. They're amazing.
They're
That really good.
fantastic. Yeah, you should just check out their music in general.
Yeah.
They're really,
Just
really
check
good.
out other bands that are playing because we were looking at it and we were like, my god, this is so good.
No, they've selected a really
yeah.
good lineup, and then we've got other stuff coming up. Like as Craig said, we've got a festival that we've confirmed
Yeah.
and stuff. So,
And there's a
um,
lot of other things in the talking that, but we can't really like.
yeah,
talk about
and we're
Yeah.
working on a new body of music as well. So,
Nice.
you know,
But we're wanting to just keep the ball rolling with everything. And I think with the first EP, like you saying, it's like clean and it's like very like we know what we wanted to do. I think we look at it and we're very proud of it and we like it. But we're like, right now we know we want to go with this kind of thing more.
I think
we're
it
not
helps.
changing direction at all. Like really, it's just where we like certain aspects of it more and go right. Let's dial that up. Do you know
I
what
think
mean?
it's
Kind of
also
thing.
made it easier now that we've released our first EP that we know which direction we want to go in, how our kind of core sound is and stuff now. We've got that kind of baseline there now that we're kind of it's like a sound palette basically
Yeah.
that we're
Yeah.
working off
We
of
know what we're
for
drawing
future
from.
releases, and yeah, we know what we're drawing from
Yeah.
and stuff. So yeah, I'm really excited for
Yeah,
this
2024.
upcoming year.
Really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
It's going to be a good year for you guys.
Yeah, hopefully. hopefully.
Sounds
We'll
like
see.
It sounds like it.
We need to get you out to a show or something like that, man. If
Yeah.
you'd like to come.
absolutely.
We are
Put me kinks
100%.
I wish.
man.
I wish. So if anyone's looking to find you, where would they find you online?
Or just the old
Socials
thing,
and that.
man. Just go to it, find Neverfine, like it's like _ Neverfine on Instagram,
_Neverfine.
and then the usual link trees there. Everything's
Link
there.
tree.
It's got everything.
Yeah, and then
also
we're on any
Any
streaming
streaming.
platform.
So. Oh, merch
There's
as
our
well.
merch.
Yeah.
Who designed that? That looks sick. Oh, it's quite cool. Where can I get one of them?
Good.
Yeah, so yeah, just look up Neverfine. It's all one word. Just
not
disclaimer
two
from the
words.
beginning.
Yeah.
And
PSA.
yeah, and we're on everything,
Yeah.
aren't we?
Yeah.
So
But yeah,
quite
hopefully
easy to
we're
find.
looking forward to next year. We're really enjoy being in, like, because you guys are like us. You've just started this up, you know.
Yeah,
and
it's
it's going
that same
quite
thing,
well.
kind of underground content creation
Yeah,
kind of
man.
movement.
So it's quite cool. Like I'm like going to watch all of them because I've watched all the other two podcasts. So
Yeah.
I'm looking
Thank
forward
you.
to everything else.
Thank
man.
you.
Thanks very
well,
much.
thank
We'll
you
be
so
back
much for
on,
having
hopefully.
us. Yeah,
definitely
like
come
watch
back.
Actually,
this.
we were just about to say that. Would
Yeah.
you like to come back on?
100%.
Oh, hell
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, we should do
You'll be
like
as long as someone's here to get me coffee.
no, we should do like we should do it like Billie Eilish Vanity Fair, just once a year, just catch up.
100%.
She'll come
100%,
next year,
you're
she'll be
more welcome.
bald and she'll be like, I went through a thing, oh my god.
Also,
like,
anytime you have new artwork coming out, you have new things come up, give us a shout and we'll get
Thank
you on.
you.
You
brilliant,
promote
man.
it.
Appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Absolutely.
100%.
You're
Well,
more
thank you
than
so
welcome
much
to
for
come
having
on.
Been
us
a
on
pleasure.
today.
Yeah, thank you
Been
very
an
much.
absolute pleasure. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Yeah,
Great.
us too.
Great guys.
Being bright.
Awesome.
Right, well, thanks very much for watching this episode of Ear Candy, and we'll catch you in the next one. See you later.
See you later, folks.